everyone, Police here, back for another one of these Sentai Filmworks, or in this case, for this month, section 23, since there's also a Made in Japan release included. July Solicitations or release slate. We're on Crunchyroll today, trying to find these like official press releases that make it easy to like convey the information is difficult. For some reason, like Sentai don't put them up on their website, Anime News Network didn't put it up on their website in an official press release. The only place I could find it where it's all detailed like we normally have is on Crunchyroll, so that's where we are today. But anyway, yeah, some pretty cool stuff coming out, at least a couple of cool things. One I'm excited for, but it's kind of a given at the moment. But anyway, I don't want this video to be too long. I say that every time and I always fail, but let's get into it, shall we? A lot of this stuff was licensed, shall we say, or at least the announcement of which, of the licenses, came in the lead up to this solicitation. That's something that Sentai tend to do, is they'll announce some older titles if they're going to be included in the upcoming solicitation. They'll only announce them like in the week leading up to the solicitation. So yeah, there's quite a handful of them, and the first one, which up until last week we didn't know they had, is the Atelier, Escha, and Logy. I have no idea. Alchemist of the Dusk Sky. Here's the cover. Basically, it is a anime adaptation of the video game franchise, the pretty popular video game franchise. There's a lot of these games, mostly put out by NIS. Tecmo Koei ended up coming into it after a while because of how popular the games are, and they're the ones that put them out in Japan. So they decided to do it themselves, given that the games have become so popular. Yeah, they're made by Gust, and they're like a sort of like a budget JRPG series that, given that there was a time when the PS3 didn't have a lot of JRPGs, and like the big hitters that we've come to know from the PS2 age never really came about, so we got a lot of these like slightly lesser budget titles with like very visual novel type aspects to them. Anyway, that's like a completely different subject. So anyway, whatever. Basically, this is an anime version of that. I think it was on like back in 2013 or something. I can't remember. But yeah, DVD and Blu-ray, sub only. Not surprising, but nice cover. I like this cover. I hope this doesn't change. There's something about, if you have a fantasy series and you're going to be putting it out, there's something about putting a border around the image that just makes it look classy and fitting, you know, like you're opening a leather-bound book sort of thing. I don't know, there's just something about like having a border on an image that I think looks really great. I don't know if they'll definitely keep it or not. They might not, but I think it looks good. I think their release of what's that show called, the one that begins with M, with the devil lady with horns, Mayu, I can't remember, something like that, that also had a border on the cover, I believe. Anyway, yeah, but I think this is a pretty good cover. Like, it looks like the franchise it comes from. The logos I've always liked from the franchise. I think they look really pretty, and yeah, nice border and stuff. So yeah, cool. Okay, next up we have One Week Friends, Japanese with English subtitles. So yeah, no dub, DVD and Blu-ray. There's very few dubs this month. Here's the mock-up cover. This cover sucks, frankly. Like, there's no way they'll keep this. The logo's not too bad, looks classy enough, I guess, but the image itself, while a nice image to some extent, like, isn't particularly great. It's in the show, like, I mean, she's literally just staring off to space. Maybe like you can sense some sort of, I don't know, tension between these two characters to some extent, like an emotional tension, but still, like, she's just like staring off to space with the rain coming down. She, despite her rosy cheeks and stuff, she still looks a bit gloomy. So yeah, and then you've got obviously the mist and all that. It just looks gloomy and downtrodden and not very interesting, and it's weird because I think they would definitely change this, because in Japan the volumes got beautiful covers, and in Australia, I believe this is the right one, yeah, Australia, it's coming out earlier in Australia, I think, or if not, like, whatever, doesn't matter. But anyway, they'd already long since solicitated their release anyway, and this is one of the covers that is on the Japanese release, and it looks really nice. I mean, the logo sort of, like, I can take it and leave it, like, it's fine, but sort of suits the art style for the cover anyway. But I do think I prefer the other logo. I think it looks slightly more classy, but this is a much nicer image, like the watercolors and stuff, and like much happier looking characters. It just, don't know, it just looks way nicer. So yeah, I hope they change that. I think they will. I doubt this will stay like this. Like, it doesn't do a good job at selling the show at all. Okay, so next there's Familia of Zero F season 4. So this is the season that they licensed back, like, 3 years ago or something, or 4 years ago, and for ages it was like they didn't release it. They kept getting asked, hey, you're going to get the original seasons, hey, you're going to get the original 3 seasons, and they kept saying, we're working on it, and they obviously eventually did it. So finally, season 4, after all this time, now that the other previous 3 seasons are released or will be released prior to this, season 4 has finally been solicitated. Obviously, DVD and Blu-ray again. The only season that got the dub was the old Ghanaian dub for season 1. Other than that, they've all been subtitle only. Here's a cover with the Lucy, is she called, I think? I can't remember, on the front cover. Again, looks fine, like the logo looks cool, I guess, and it sort of suits the rest of the franchise, but this will change because they've changed every single one of their Familia of Zero covers so far. This will be no different. Like, so yeah, I don't expect this to change. So it's not really, I mean, I do expect this to change, so I'm not really going to go into great depth about commenting on it, other than the fact that pretty breezy down there by the looks of it. But anyway, moving on. Is this order a rabbit? Question mark. Japanese English subtitles. So yeah, like I said, very low on the dubs. DVD and Blu-ray. This one, is it? Yes. So yeah, it looks like typical Moe stuff. I mean, I'm curious to. I don't know anything about this show. I should probably read the description for this one, because I literally know nothing about it. Coming to a new town to start high school can be intimidating. That's especially true for Coco. God, who can't find the place she's supposed to be staying when she arrives. She stops at a cafe to ask for directions. However, it turns out she's already where she needs to be. You see the Rabbit House as both a restaurant and a boarding house. Okay, so I'm guessing it's just going to be a slice of life show where she works part-time as a waitress in the house, the boarding house, probably something like that. But they're bound to keep Coco jumping as the fun never stops. Yeah, I don't know. Seems like some Moe comedy slice of life thing with some sort of weird rabbit theme, but I'm not sure if that's just the. Let's double check. Let's make sure there's not actually just like a freaking rabbit in the show or something crazy. Still, there's something just a little bit odd about the Rabbit House. Besides the fact that Rise usually carries a Glock and a knife hidden on her, there's also a mystery involving the shop's pet rabbit, Tippy. Okay, there is a rabbit. I don't know. I have no idea what the show's about. It sounds very strange. I won't be buying it probably, like, or almost certainly. I think it's on Crunchyroll. I mean, we could check, but I won't bother. But I'm pretty sure it's on Crunchyroll. If I ever wanted to check it out, I could. But I'm trying to be a lot more sensible about the things I pick up, and stuff like this is just no longer anywhere near my radar. Like, if I ever want to see this show, there are other means than, you know, buying it. So, but yeah, looks perfectly fine cover. I wouldn't be surprised if this changes dramatically. I mean, they might decide to completely overhaul it, but Moe, rather nice art style, I guess, in terms of the colouring and stuff. It looks nice, but not interested at all. Guardian Ninja and Mamoru. This is a DVD release. This is an old show. They picked up a couple of older shows from like back in 2006. There was a show that was connected to these, and they got them as part of a batch. But I cannot for the life of me remember what the other one was. I mean, the major show they picked up, and they went back and picked up a couple of older ones. But anyway, so yeah, this is like a 2006 comedy. The cover makes it look far more risque than I believe the show actually is. So yeah, here we go. Typical Sentai cover. I honestly wouldn't expect this to change a lot. Like, I think this will probably end up being the cover, mainly because of just how much work is clearly going into this. Because this, like I said, this is an older show, so this is would have definitely been. This isn't a quick mock-up where they just had artwork sent to them and we'll make that a mock-up and we'll do it properly later. This is more like, no, this like it's clearly had proper work put into it, I think. Sorry for my cough. I've been ill like the last few days, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, so Guardian Ninja Mamoru, I think it might be a harem, but I'm not sure, but I know it's a comedy for certain. And yeah, it looks fine. I mean, the logo looks fine, the background looks cool. I'm not really too interested in what's going on the cover, and well, I'm a straight guy, we have our perversions, I guess, but more to the point, it's just like, I just don't always understand why Sentai feel the need to always do this with their covers, or a lot of their covers. Like, but then again, like, they probably don't have much hope for this show selling a lot. It's really old and obscure, like 2006, like before the Crunchyroll stuff. So this is before now. You would have only really picked this up as fan subs. So they're kind of like, we need some way to sell this show because the majority of people would have never have heard of it. I'd only heard of it because I frequent like torrent sites that have like fan subs and stuff. So, and I like to see what's out there that's been fan subbed that's relatively recent but was not ever released on DVD. And this was one of those shows, so I'd seen like some screens of it and stuff. I'd never seen any of the show itself, but yeah, I kind of knew a little bit about it. But yeah, I mean, I don't like these sort of covers because I just feel like they're selling the show short. I believe anyway, from what I know about the show, but at the same time, I sort of painfully have to admit that I kind of understand why they do it, as much as I disagree with it. But anyway, that's that, like, completely obscure. Anyway, then we've got Patlabor 2, the movie. Also the Blu-ray and DVD. English and Japanese with English subtitles. Let's go ahead. This is very similar to the mock-up for the first movie coming out on Blu-ray from Maiden Japan. This is the Maiden Japan release. It's just like got a different color tone to it. Like everything's like orange sunset, and then you've got obviously the two main female characters of the series, or two of the main female characters in the series. And yeah, I've now seen all of Patlabor the TV series, the new files, which I watched like last week, and adored that fantastic OVA set of OVA episodes, like really funny stuff. I really enjoyed it. So I've watched the TV timeline, but as far as the movie timeline, which is the original 7-episode OVA, and then the 3 movies, I've only seen the original OVA, and I was excited and wanted to go out and obviously see the movies as soon as possible, but I've been able to hold back, and it is kind of annoying that even though the first movie comes out relatively soon, I'm still going to be waiting a while until I see the second one and the third one. Although the third one, I believe, is actually a prequel to this second movie. It kind of fits in between the two, which is weird, but anyway. But yeah, nice cover. Really looking forward to this release. There's the one thing to say about it. I didn't really know this before until just recently, but apparently the dubs that are being included on the Made in Japan release are different. Like there's like 2 English dubs for Patlabor. There was the original manga entertainment ones that were done back in the 90s. I don't know if it's Streamline Pictures had anything to do with that, or if it was manga themselves, but anyway, there's an early 90s dub for the first 2 movies, and there's also a new dub that was done when Bandai Visual were around, and they were doing those really expensive collector's editions on DVD for the first 2 movies. They did a new dub at that point. So from what I understand is that on these 2 Blu-rays that Made in Japan are putting out for the first 2 movies of Patlabor, they're going to be the newer dubs, not the old ones. So I might track down the old dubs, because I've heard that the old dubs are kind of cool, so I might try and track those down on DVD at some point, because I'm pretty sure manga put them out at some point. So yeah, Patlabor 2 the movie. And we've got No Game No Life. This is like the first thing that's actually got a dub on it, like a new dub. This series was really, really popular when it was on. I remember a lot of people talking about it. I have enough interest in this show that I plan to pick it up at some point. I don't know if I'll be going for the collector's edition, because there is a DVD and a Blu-ray, but there's also a combo which is the collector's edition, so yeah, English and Japanese with English subtitles. Yeah, it's got like, as far as I'm aware, it's like sort of like this slightly surreal thing that has lots of video game references and stuff in it, but not like in the traditional, hey, we just made a joke about this video game, did you get it, sort of thing, but more like, I mean, at least from what I understand, of which there is, the thing with me is when a show is super popular, I tend to just when a show is super popular when it's on, I tend to just accept it as is. Like, I don't really look too much into it. I'm just like, wow, this show is really making a hit. A lot of people are talking about this. It's clearly a good show, you would think. You know, I definitely obviously evaluate if it's in a genre that I'm interested in or not, but still, it's still one of those things where it's like, this show is clearly making headways in the community. I should definitely keep my eye on it. So honestly, I don't know a hell of a lot about the show, but I am very interested in seeing it. I am one for blind buying. You know, it's not always the most sensible thing to do, but I do it a lot. Anyway, so here are the covers. The covers are freaking fantastic. So this is the standard edition, so not the collector's edition. This is what will appear on the DVD and the Blu-ray, and I think it looks great. I've heard a couple of people on Fandom Post said that they thought it was too busy. I don't mind busy covers. Like, I always find it strange when people are like, oh, it's way too busy, you don't need that, it's too much stuff going on. And sometimes I'm just like, well, honestly, it's just a cover. You know, it's a piece of artwork that's meant to help the show. Now, for me personally, obviously you can definitely say that a cleaner cover, something that isn't so busy, I guess, is better at selling a show, because it's much clearer, like, to the eye. It's like less there's just like a little bit less going on. It's not so like I can't really think of the right word, which is annoying, but overbearing, I guess, to someone who hasn't seen the show and just is just like picking up the cover. But at the same time, this will turn your head. If you're walking around and you have a certain mindset in terms of art style you like and colours, you'll just be walking around, you might be browsing the anime aisle, you're trying to tell me this wouldn't stick out to you, and you go, oh, what's this? You wouldn't pick this up and have a look. I mean, who buys anime in stores these days anyway, like brick and mortar stores? But still, you know, it's still one of those things where it's like, this turns your eye, like, it turns your head. It's eye candy, it looks great, and yeah, I think it looks great, and I hope they don't change it. This is the cover, the preliminary cover anyway, for the collector's edition. Again, quite similar, a little bit less busy. Maybe they should swap them around like the standard edition, because I think this would look great for the standard edition as well. I mean, it is less busy, maybe it serves both purposes because it still looks really nice. So yeah, maybe have this on the standard and the other one on the collector's edition, because the collector's edition is obviously going to come in a chipboard box. It's going to come with a CD, which I presume is the soundtrack, 9 stickers, a poster, 6 postcards, a foil card, authenticity card, playing cards, and then Japanese commentaries, which is cool, promos and commercials, short, no game and no life shorts, clean opening, clean closing. So not quite as much as they put into like Love, Chernobyl and Other Delusions, but at the same time, like, if you're getting the soundtrack and commentaries, I think that's a fair trade. I can't remember if Love, Chernobyl and Other Delusions, whatever it's called, had the soundtrack. Don't believe it did. So yeah, if it didn't have the soundtrack in that release, and I think, given that there's slightly less stuff in this, which I think's fine anyway, because I think they went overboard with Love, Chernobyl and Other Delusions, which I hate saying over and over again. I think they went overboard with that, so I think having less stuff is still a good thing anyway, especially if it brings the price down slightly. But yeah, collector's edition for that. Okay, let's move on to the final thing. Windy Tales. Now, this is another one of those shows, as I was saying earlier, that when I'm on torrent fan sub sites and you like look at the stuff that's relatively recent but was never licensed, this is one of the ones that always stood out. So I was really excited that this got picked up. So yeah, Windy Tales, DVD only, subtitle only. Obviously, I think it's like a 2004 or 5 show. But here's the preliminary cover. It doesn't do a good job. This isn't a great cover in the sense that I don't think it does a good job at selling the show. Because one of the key things of this show is the art style. The art style for it is amazing. I haven't seen the show, so once again, this is one of those things where I'm just looking at the aesthetics, screenshots and stuff, and thinking, this looks really cool. And the plot, which I've forgotten right now, but when I remember reading the synopsis, it seemed pretty interesting as well. But yeah, thing about this cover, what this cover reminds me of is of a Criterion release cover, where it's like, well, if something is really established already, then having a cover like this, which is much more abstract, is fine, because people, that people will flock to it anyway, because you're doing because it's an established thing. So if you have a cover a cover that isn't necessarily, hey, look at me, I'm Windy Tales, and this is what I'm about, you don't need that, because it's already an established thing. But in the case when you're not established and you really are super obscure like Windy Tales is, then having a cover like this serves no purpose. It's not going to help as good as the cover is, in my opinion. It'd make a good slip cover, but at the same time, if you had this as a slip cover, that's essentially the cover. That's what people would see. So yeah. But anyway, here's the promo poster for it. So this is what the art style of the show is, and it just looks really, really cool. It's I don't know if it's done by the same guy that did Tikon Kincrete. I wouldn't be surprised, because it looks exactly the same in terms of the art style. The guy who did Tikon Kincrete is I think he's French Japanese or something weird. I can't or did the guy who did the film was French, and the guy who did the manga is just Japanese, and they came together to do the film. I can't remember if the original author of the manga, Black and White, or Tikon Kincrete, is French Japanese, or if it's a combination of the two when the film was made with the director and the blah blah blah. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, this looks really cool. Just something really different. I will definitely be buying this. I mean, it's DVD only, but it's a show that came out in the era before HD, but a digital show. So DVD only is just fine. Like a Blu-ray isn't really going to make it look a lot better. So yeah, that's Windy Tales, and that is everything. There's the whole shebang. There's all she wrote. That's the whole July 2015 release slate for Sentai Filmworks. And I can guarantee that as much as I wanted this to be a short video, it probably frickin' wasn't. So anyway, if you've got to the end of this, as always, thank you for watching. My second half of February anime pickups I will do this week. At some point, I have to, otherwise it's just going to continuously fall further and further behind. But yeah, like I said, I've been ill the last few days, so didn't really have the energy or the motivation to do it. But anyway, Funimation solicitations have been slightly easier to... When they've been announcing them, they've been coming out with the covers. It takes a while. It doesn't happen in the easier way like Sentai Filmworks do it, but after a while it is possible that I could do a video like this for Funimation releases. The only problem is it would be really a long time after that information got out there. You're talking like 2 weeks before the information would be this readily available, and this in terms of like being able to present it to you in a video and my thoughts. I don't know if it's really worth doing. I don't know if these videos are really worth doing, but people do seem to watch them, so I've carried on doing them since, I don't know, why not? It's a relatively easy thing for me to do. I just have to talk for ages. But anyway, speaking of talking for ages, I said this video is going to be short, and all I'm doing right now is not only making the video longer, and I already know it's very long, but yeah, I'm just making it longer and longer. So I'm going to stop talking, and I will see you relatively soon. So thanks for watching, and yeah.